Dylan Edwards fullback, and I got Lomax Toto on the wings. I don't care. They're going to play one game, they'll be right, as long as they get through. Latrell on the left. On the right, I got penciled in Turbo. If he's not there, Stephen Crichton. Moses, Nathan Cleary. Nathan's the captain.
Yep.
I think it's his time.
Yep.
Isaiah, Angus Crichton on the left, Liam Martin on the right. Mitch Barnett, Payne Haas, Reece Robson.
Welcome to Immortal Behaviour for another week. Thanks to Tab. Andrew Johns, it's a great jumper.
It is a good jumper, isn't it?
Brilliant.
We haven't seen much of it this year. Newcastle's 13 plus. I think they beat the Dolphins 13 plus.
Yeah, they did once.
So maybe this is a sign for this weekend.
Bring it back.
Yeah.
For this weekend.
No.
Take that back. Let's dig right into Origin because it's a hot topic. Obviously, you had Laurie Daley on Freddie in the 8th yesterday. I thought he was great, but he put forward a pretty strong case for Mitch Moses and what he thinks about him playing 5'8". What did you make of that?
It sounded like Laurie it's pretty much locked Mitch Moses in. He didn't say it on camera, he didn't say it off camera, but yeah, his tone and the way he said it looks like Moses will get the number 6 jersey.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, good. Interesting to see how they handle the load and share the load. Look, last year before game 1, I know that Michael Maguire and both Moses and Cleary sat down, and Moses said, I'll be the backup singer. So they were going to do it last year until Nathan got injured, but they'll work it out. I think it's exciting because Mitchell Moses will be on the left side, and his long passing will bring Latrell into play. So I think it opens up the attack on the left side.
It's pretty hard to deny his form, but particularly Origin last year too, Mitch Moses.
Well, he killed it. Pretty much won the game. That last try, when he scored that individual try, wrapped up the game. But yeah, his performance in Melbourne, his kicking game in particular, was sensational. So, there's a lot of talk about him playing halfback. People saying he's the incumbent, but Nathan's fit, and the jersey's his. But I like the idea of Mitch Moses 6. I think it'd be good.
Given that Latrell has that left foot kick and Mitch Moses, we're assuming, will be on the left side, do you think, because some of people are saying Jerome Luai has that left foot boot, and that might be one of the talking points, do you think that comes into play at all, or you're not worried?
Latrell could do that long kicking. We know how big a boot he's got. Look, Mitch Moses, you have a look at Clubland, Braden Trindle for the Sharks is doing all the kicking on the left-hand side. And he's sort of altered his kicking style so he's not spraying them out in the full. They'll work it out.
Yeah.
But I'd say Nathan will do probably 80% of the kicking.
What about Trbojevic? He's been the heart and soul of New South Wales for a very long time. Where do you sit on him? If you think he will or won't play, and what does that mean?
I think Jakey's going to miss out. He only played small minutes last year, and it's hard to say because everyone loves Jake. Everyone loves and we know how passionate he is and what a great captain he is and how popular he is, especially amongst the group. But
amongst everyone,
even opposition players. Like, it's well known, he smashes oppositions and apologises on the field. Jakey, he's one of the greats, but unfortunately I can't have him in my 17.
Well, let's have a look at your 17 as you've got it now. Obviously the teams will be announced on, is it Sunday night or Monday?
Sunday night, but there's a late game.
Yeah.
The Tigers South game, which makes it difficult. So, my turn. Look, I've gone Dylan Edwards at fullback. I've been quite vocal saying I'd like Tom Trbojevic fullback, but it was if he was fully fit. I don't know how that knee is. He was really proppy on the weekend.
He looked worse at home on
didn't
on Manly on Sunday than the week before, do you reckon?
Fortnight before.
Yeah, fortnight.
Yeah, that was against Penrith, Yeah, it just doesn't look... He looks a bit lame. I know Laurie's going to have a conversation with him.
Okay.
And Turbo being the player he is, if he's not right, he'll put his hand up. So, Dylan Edwards fullback, and I got Lomax Toto on the wings. I don't care. They're going to play one game, they'll be right, as long as they get through. Latrell on the left. On the right, I got penciled in Turbo. If he's not there, Stephen Crichton. Moses, Nathan Cleary. Nathan's the captain.
Yep.
I think it's his time.
Yep.
Isaiah, Angus Crichton on the left, Liam Martin on the right, Mitch Barnett, Payne Haas, Reece Robson, and then on the bench, Connor Watson's 14, Spencer Leniu, Ola Kawatu, and my 17 is Hudson Young, but I play Hudson in the middle. He's playing as a middle forward. I think with his speed, very similar to Anthony Watmo, the way he used to play. So Hudson's my middle, or he could play in the centres if there was an injury. 18th man, Terrell May, and I'd have Isaiah Katoa in camp to understand what it's like, because I've no doubt he'll be there in years to come.
Well, he's the future, isn't he? What about, you said Ola Kawatu, what about someone that I feel like's been playing really good and is a little bit more versatile, which we might not need given the players we have on the bench, Keon Kolomatangi?
Yeah, well, Keon, when he debuted, that night, so the game plan was to get at Munster, open the field and attack Queensland's right side. Keon that night, I think he had 22 hit-ups and just ran at Munster every time and didn't complain, didn't get any quality ball, but he knew his job was to get at Munster. And I think at half-time, Munster had made 20-odd tackles. So Keon took a bullet for the team. Really good club play. His form this year has been really strong in a team that's
I like
struggling.
him in the middle.
He's lost about 10 kilos.
Yeah, fair chunk.
So he's got rid of Uber Eats.
Deleted the app.
So he said no, he hasn't been having dessert. So well done, Keon. Yeah, he'd be in the argument for sure.
We heard Ben Hunt come out and say that, I think it was on radio, potentially Cam Munster putting him at fullback wouldn't be a bad decision. What do you make of that call?
I think this is probably as ridiculous as putting Kalen Ponga at 5'8" at Clubland. You don't weaken one position to strengthen another. Munster hasn't played fullback for a long, long time. Fitness-wise, it's totally different. You're doing a lot more running, but also defensively, organising the defensive line, that's an art in itself. No,
do you reckon he's doing it for a laugh?
Yeah, well, that won't happen. Won't happen. I was going to say small chance of me doing something. But I don't.
Do you think there's any Queenslanders that would have a little bit of panic that was going to happen over KP, or there's just no chance?
Not at all. The big one is, for me, is Daly Cherry Evans and Tom Did.
Yeah.
I think that there is a big discussion about, with Ben Hunt out, whether you put Daly at 14 and start with Did. We know Daly's 36 coming to the end. Munster's 30. So it's an ageing halves.
So when Daly's out of the picture, when he retires, do you think Did and owns that 7 for the future?
No,
okay.
not necessarily. I think Sammy Walker is there.
Yep.
Even Jamal Fogarty, I think he'd be at Origin level, depending who was outside of him. But Dearden is the future in the halves, whether it's 6 or 7. He's played 4 Origins now. Club form this year has been out of this world. And Daly, Manly's won 1 from 5 since he's made the announcement, and his form's been quite poor. So I think there's a discussion has to be around who's 7, who's 14 there.
Interesting.
But it's their conversation, so
Who cares?
it's usually our way. We're
isn't
used
it?
to it. So yeah, it's nice.
It's nice to have a few halves up our sleeve this year. What else did you get out of the chat with Laurie Daley on Freddie and the 8th? I loved him. I thought he was brilliant.
It's really relaxed. Yeah, I think it's an easier job this year.
Yeah.
Other than playing that Queensland team that 8 years in a row did they win?
Well, they're the 3 greatest players. Like, how do you beat that side?
Well, if you have a look at the results, I looked recently. Games on the line. There was a few blowouts, but a lot of them were 2 points, 4 points, 6 points, and at the end of the day, Cameron and JT got them home. That was the key.
So you think he'll be a different coach this time, or do you just think the team that he's up against is winnable, whereas it probably wasn't with the 3 of the greatest players of all time?
It's going to be a bit of a tricky one because you don't want to play too much Penrith-centric play because Penrith's style is all about grinding the opposition and putting pressure on them and they buckle. But at Origin level, you've got the best players, the fittest players, mentally tough. They'll just hang in. And if they play that style, quality ball won't go to the edges. Latrell and Angus need quality ball, but early ball. Last year in Melbourne, they terrorised Daly Cherry Evans and Valentine Holmes. They just couldn't stop them. So it's interesting to see how he tweaks the attack. But once again, it comes down to Nathan and Moses, how they combine.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that if that is the pairing.
I'm looking forward to it. It's exciting.
So exciting. Let's get on to Clubland for a little bit. The Roosters at the moment, are they starting to get a little bit of a bad reputation around the way that they're recruiting and also maybe treating some of their players that are leaving?
Look, we all jump up and down when players leave clubs to go to other clubs, but when clubs move players on, we sort of just, oh, well, it's the way it is.
Yeah.
There is some questionable recruiting over the last few years. Obviously, the Brandon Smiths is the one. As soon as they signed Brandon, I was sort of giggling, going, Brandon Smith in the eastern suburbs? What could possibly go wrong? But
read between the lines.
He's had injuries and that sort of thing. Look, I still don't know whether he's an out-and-out dummy half. I think he's a running middle who can play dummy half. And Dominic Young. It hasn't worked for whatever reason. When Dominic was at Newcastle, he was running off Kalen. Kalen coming around to those sweeping plays. That's the way the Knights were playing. So he was getting quality ball off KP. Roosters don't really play that style of play. You don't see Teddy sort of sweeping around on those set plays. So he hasn't had much quality ball, but his confidence has been down. Defensively, he's been poor. But the start of the year, that side of the field was targeted, where they had Chad Townsend, Robert Toyer, and Dominic, and they really struggled. But his confidence is down. He hasn't been playing up to his standards. But the recruitment, there is some question marks on it. I got to say, it's when they lost all those players last year, we were like, oh, who they're going to buy? But they put faith in these young blokes. Nafu White.
Yeah.
He is world class.
It's a weapon, isn't he?
Weapon. Siwa Wong is growing every week. You got these young blokes, Steep and Feketi off the bench. So they knew what was coming through. So well done to the Roosters.
We all thought they were some gaps.
Yeah. Well, they've got that development system. They went to Barcelona and had a look at their junior system, what they do, and they've tried to copy that. And you've got to say it's working.
It well and truly has.
They're growing as a team.
Yeah, you think?
I thought they'd come last. Like the last trial, Newcastle put 50 on them, Brisbane put 50 on them, round one, and I thought, well, here we go. They're going to come last this year. But each week they have grown as a team, and each week these younger players have grown, really grown in confidence. Hugo Savala, Mark, he could be close to Origin this year.
It'd be good to get him in the mix to learn Nawanganitawase.
Nawanganitawase.
Okay, you fully
I see him all the time at the beach, and I go
that wasn't
say
the one.
it, and he just laughs. I apologise to the family. He goes, no, it's all right.
And imagine when Sam Walker comes back into a side that's developed
Walker,
those young players, has a bit of confidence.
Sandon Smith, Hugo Savala, all these young blokes. Really good.
Hugo's been impressive. He doesn't overplay his game, does he?
Well, he's another one. When he came in his debut against Penrith that night, he tackled well, and that was pretty much his job. But then from there, his kicking game's been better. The last couple of weeks, we've seen his running game. So I don't know what's happened, whether they've signed Cherry Evans. What's going to happen there?
Strange, isn't it?
It's just, you got Hugo, you got Sandon Smith, who was elevated himself. You've got Toby Rodwell, who won the game from.
Oh yeah.
But he's
Brett
still
Rodwell's son.
Yeah, he's still 18 months, 2 years off. Interesting. We'll see how it plays out.
Fascinating. Stay tuned. All right, now it is time for our tab big call of the week. Joey, what have you got?
I got two teams, 13 plus. I got Cowboys 13 plus, and Brisbane 13 plus this weekend.
Ooh.
Two Queensland teams. Was it Magic Round? They didn't win a game.
Yeah.
Queensland
all four teams lost at Magic Round. That's wild, isn't it?
Yeah. You were bagging Queensland before, so.
Why not?
She's bagging.
It's Origin.
Throw cans at her. Don't abuse me when we're up.
Come at me. Best of luck.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of Origin, game 2 tonight for the women at Allianz. I mean, I'm pumped for this one. I think it'll be huge. New South Wales have never won an Origin series since it moved to that 3-game series. What are you expecting from both sides?
Well, it's wet weather. So the kicking games are going to be very important. I spoke to Jess Southwell this morning, just talking about a kicking game. The kicking game in game 1 was incredible. But in these wet, slippery conditions, the kicking game is so important. I've got to say, her kicking game is so much better than Queensland's. So that's a big advantage. I just think New South Wales is a better balanced team. I really like their forward pack. And out wide, they've got so much strike. Isabel Kelly and Jess Surgis, they're machines. I think New South Wales win. It's a shame it's wet.
I know.
It's a shame it's wet.
I know, but you know what? We'll just show them that we can win another way. In your
Well,
award
they won in the rain They won by 1 point. Was that in
Queensland
Newey?
did. So it was in Newcastle.
Yeah.
It was like the most revolting
Well, won't happen tonight.
weather ever.
Won't
But New South Wales were on top the whole game. It was just a late try to Taryn Aiken, and then Lauren Brown kicks the impossible.
Yeah.
Anyway, I do think it is a different scenario. In your article in the SMH award-winning, you know that one? You said you wanted to see Jessie Southwell's running game a little bit more. That's always been one of her big strengths as well.
That's a big strength. I thought in game one she was so dominant. She's an old school halfback, and well done to John Strain, the coach. He gave her the reins and gave her the big responsibility. And with Jess, the more responsibility and the more time she gets the ball in her hands, more pressure, the better she goes. She's one of those players. Yeah. They picked Panatani.
Yeah, Tiana Panatani.
Tiana at 5'8", normally an outside back, but her brief was run the ball. And people are up in arms going, oh, Jess Southwell has to do all the kicking. I was like, so what? More kicking from her, the better. So her running game is the strength. Really sharp right foot step, close to the line, she's so dangerous. Go and have a look on YouTube, 2023 try of the year. She scores a try.
The one that was this carbon copy of yours?
Beats about 5 defenders.
Yeah.
Right foot step. She's really quick and powerful off the mark, so yeah.
I mean, she was impressive in game one, but you think that's the one build on that she can add?
And that'll come. That'll come as she gets more confidence. You still got to remember, she's only 20.
I know. It's insane, isn't it?
It's just incredible. And like I have to remind myself, it's like 15 years. You know, halves don't get it till 26, 28. It's exciting to watch her career and Izzy Katoa's. You know, I love watching him play.
Two of the best. We actually had John Strange on our preview show last night ahead of this game tonight, the Women's Origin, and I asked him specifically about Jessie Southwell and what she's been like to coach, and it was unreal hearing him speak. He said he really broke it down and just said to Jessie exactly what he wants from her.
Okay.
Go out, don't worry about anyone else. They'll make sure that they're in the right place. So at the right time, and you go out and you play your style, which is exactly what you pointed out. You can see that. It looked so clear.
She said she was so clear.
Isn't that the best?
He was so clear what he wanted to offer. So
it's amazing.
Well, no, he's a good coach. He can produce a player too.
He's a very good coach.
Ethan and what's his daughter's name?
Ethan and Jasmine Strange.
Jasmine, yeah.
Just had a mental blank.
He can, yeah.
Good footballing family. What do you reckon they speak about at dinner time?
Footy.
Where do you think the game is won and lost against Queensland
Kicking
and New
game.
South Wales?
If it's slippery and wet, the kicking game's going to be so important. And when it's wet, it's all about where do I give the ball back to the opposition. And if Jessie gets the kicking game on, Queensland have to win. So then does the pressure go on Queensland where they've got to force their hand? And in the wet, risk-reward is a very fine line. So kicking game, very important.
Alrighty. Live and free on Nine's Wide World of Sports tonight.
Can't wait for this one.
It'll be awesome.
Yep.
I hope everyone comes to Allianz as well.
Yep.
Get there.
We know once the girls become fully professional, the standard will go like that. And the standard goes like that every year. But to do that, step one, people watching on TV is huge. The most rating of any game this year, Origin one. The next step is selling out stadiums, buy merchandise, so grandmas, mums, aunties, sisters, cousins, go out and support it. We need a big crowd there because once it becomes fully professional, it'll go through the roof.
All right, we'll see you at Allianz. Make sure you get hot chippies because I'm telling you, they're the best in the biz there.
Are they?
Extras, yeah. They're like
chicken
yellow.
Salt.
They have so much chicken salt on them.
What
they're
is
bright
chicken
yellow.
salt? I've never heard of that till recently.
Delicious. What do you mean? You've never heard of chicken salt?
No, I have till recently, but growing up, it wasn't a thing. I don't know if it came to
What did you have on your fish and chips? Normal salt?
Just salt.
Sea
It was
salt.
never around in the 80s, was it?
I don't know.
Chicken salt?
I was born in 92.
Really?
Yeah.
92, I was doing some of my best work in 92. Not
All
really.
right, let's move on.
Not really at all.
Big call from the Cowboys. Jaxon Purdue, he's been playing out of his skin this season, but he moves to playing 5'8". Do you like that?
Yeah, it's a big call. Toddy
Huge.
Payton will make big calls. He remember he put Taumalolo on the bench last year. He dropped Jeremiah Nene this year. Jake Clifford, I think his form's been really good. But
Yeah, he moves to 18th man for perspective.
Jaxon Purdue, we can see the potential there. He looks an out-and-out superstar, number 6. And like all the really running 5'8", Laurie Daley, Brad Fittler over the years, trying to think off the top of my head anymore. They started in the outside backs, and their strength was their speed and their footwork and their running game, which is Jackson's strength. So it's exciting.
Well, we saw him play at fullback last year for the under-19s Origin game, so he's obviously got that. He's also got a little bit of balance. I thought even in that game he showed his passing game a little bit, but yeah, he's got that.
He moves beautifully.
Hopefully triple threat.
Scoring long-range tries. He's one of those players. His anticipation and support, very similar to Fletcher Sharp. He knows where to get himself to get a try. So it's exciting. It's really exciting.
Come November 1, he'll be a free agent. Do you think the Cowboys jump on him early, or is this that danger period where other clubs try and get in and snatch him for a good price, like a Lockie, similar to a Lockie Galvin?
Yeah. Well, there's not many quality halves like him. We can see he's potentially a rep player for a long time.
So if he comes out and plays in the halves for, let's say, 4 or 5 games in a row in the NRL and absolutely dominates.
Well, he's $1 million player then.
Isn't that crazy?
Especially when PNG and Perth come into the team, and look, there's going to be another team in 4 or 5 years, which I think should be the South Island of New Zealand. His market value will go through the roof.
So do you think the Cowboys will try and get in early?
I'm trying to think, when's Jace Taumalolo finish? Like he had that 10-year deal. 10
years, that'd be nearly up.
Which was a really good deal. They got their money's worth, the Cowboys. When he comes off, whenever he comes off, that money Jason gets would go to Purdue. They won't let him go.
Yeah.
Because Reece Robson's gone. So there's some money freed up there. I think they'll keep him. They've got to keep him. There's got to be some dispensation for local juniors.
Yeah, there has to be.
Like, look at Penrith. Penrith have produced so many players. And the players at other clubs who were killing it at Penrith Juniors. Wade Egan, Izzy Katoa, Burton, the list goes on. Stephen Crichton. We just keep going on. It goes on and on and on. Anyway.
Do you think that's one of the biggest problems that we need to look at, particularly with the new clubs coming in? Or
well, it's hard. It's hard because other clubs don't have big junior bases, like the Roosters. Yeah. But the Roosters have, followed that model of Barcelona. What do they say that with the list?
I don't know.
Barcelona.
You're asking the wrong person.
So they're identifying, really good 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old players and getting them there, developing there. It makes it hard when some clubs haven't got the big junior bases, but they should be able to pick a few and they get dispensation of the salary cap.
Alrighty, round 11, you're looking forward to it. What about round 10 was insane. If this round's anything like it, bring it on.
The game is flying. The games are so good.
You can't miss a game. Like, not that we miss a game anyway.
Someone threw his toys out about the bunker. And look, to their credit, they put the bunker got out of the play, and the games are just so good. What game was it last week? The Bulldogs
Raiders
Canberra game. I sat at home, and normally I flick between the Saturday game and the races, but I just watched it. Yeah, I just watched it. I just watched the footy. Could not turn it off. So
see, Stephen Crichton in that game was in
it's
that
like Sonny
second
Bill
half.
when he had that ball and went over the top and then fended. It was just so good to watch. And I love the way both those teams play. They play different. Set plays, offloads. Game's flying. Well done.
Flying. How good's rugby league? All right, thanks for sticking with us for Immortal Behaviour for another week. Enjoy the footy on the weekend and up the Blues at Allianz tonight.
Up the Blues.